Hello everyone, and welcome back to Fleet's Catch-Up Ramblings. Yes, we're back. Once again on that catch-up vibe, as we so often do. As we so often like to do. Yes, as per usual, we're here on the catch-up vibe train, working our way into the Friday evenings for your enjoyment. Joining me is the person who happens to be Moe and might be a waifu. We're not entirely sure, but that's his name.
Don't worry, Patty.
Also in the audience, we have the Mad German. Okay, so is he a cat shaped like MacArthur? Or is he a MacArthur shaped like a cat? We're not entirely sure. Also, for those who do enjoy a good bit of the Paradox Grand Strategy MacGuffiny McMuffiny Part 5.6, there will be, for the first time in a while, to celebrate the fact that I am no longer feeling like I'm going to keel over sideways from disease, a post-Ramblings Hoi game. If you have the Hoi Hoi roll, you will see that there is, in the Hoi chat, the collection and the JSON for those who want it. Typical gunnery officer, we don't take questions on a Friday. You know this. You know this.
Yes, but to be fair, it's nice and short.
Well, I don't know. You'd have to ask someone like Cyclic or something.
I don't see any reason why you can't. It's just making a ground launch or a ground-based launcher for it. That's all. Because I presume a standard won't have one at the moment.
Sustenance. And alcoholism. But mostly sustenance.
No money.
I have enough money to live week to week, but we may not. I may not be going to Japan. Sag.
Big goof.
That's just the way the cookie crumbles. It'll be a shame, but hey ho, it is what it is. I mean, it's not like the others where if they lose this, it's not good. There might not be a chance for them to do it again, and a lot of the work they've put in will be lost. Whereas with me, all I'm losing is the trip to Japan. It's not the same for me as it is for some of them. But hi, Chair! It's nice to see you! It's been way too long.
Hello.
What have you been driving? Well, not driving, sorry. What have you been firing over the summer?
Funny you say that.
Oh.
Someone may have been allowed to trundle the Lambton tank around the yard for a bit.
Ooh. How does it feel actually driving an actual steam engine?
I mean, you move the regulator, nothing happens because that's not where the valve is. You have to keep going. There is a lot of take up on the linkage.
Yeah, are regs as stiff as they're often made out to be?
No.
No?
Just clonk. Oh, there's a bit of resistance. Ah, there we go. Now there's steam.
So basically,
A
once you pass...
reversing handle. Fuck me.
Oh yeah, so was that a bit...
Because it's a straight link and it's on the Lambton tank.
Oh.
Massive fuck off cylinders. But, you know, clonk, clonk. Ah, there we go. Now she is in the other gear.
You have two gears, forward and backward. That is your life. So your control
that is the Lambton tank.
Your control is entirely the reg. That is it. How much valve do you wish to have?
Yes, and from what someone was saying to me, you only have the pilot valve.
Jesus.
If you put it into second valve, it will use all of your steam. The only point of second valve is to start an 1,000-ton coal train on a gradient for about 4 chuffs. then you shut up. Then you come back to pilot valve because otherwise there is no steam left.
Yes. Bone Mill Boy. So without further ado, let's get into the questions. How often did warships pre-sonar carry out bathymetric surveys that aren't tactically useful? e.g. Emden covering the Emden Deep in the Philippine Trench. A lot, actually. I mean, for example, there's that whole thing with Königsberg going, "Hey, British ships, guess what? I have accurate charts of this fucking river. You don't. I'm going." What do you mean you're going? I mean, I'm going. I know where shallow bits be, and you don't. And while yes, that was technically tactically useful, it wasn't exactly in everyone's manuals to park a cruiser up a bloody river delta. At least as far as I'm aware. Unless either of you two know of anyone's ideas pre-World War I to park cruisers up deltas and just sit there.
Mm-mm.
No, not really.
But in terms of things like, Emden Deep, and bear in mind, cruising warships did do this sort of thing all the time. Like, one of the things that cruisers did is, disaster relief, survey work. It's the work that ships had been doing for ages. I mean, a lot of the great exploratory voyages of the colonial rather than the exploratory period, so, when Empire really was taking off, but you hadn't gotten to places like Australia, New Zealand, etc., a lot of those voyages were conducted by commissioned warships. Things like frigates, or other good, handy, seaworthy ships.
Yeah, because, what's it? Cook, one of his first ships, a frigate he went to Vanuatu in. I mean, he didn't, because he wanted to go and, of all things, wanted to watch the eclipse.
Well, that's one of the uses of one of His Majesty's frigates.
Yeah, well, they did, because it was the 17-something, I think it was the Venus transit, or something happens during it. I can't remember exactly, but it's something to do with Venus and an eclipse, and they have to be in Vanuatu.
Why are we going here? Because we have to be here. But why? Because we have to be
I think it's because it's the furthest way you can get from Greenwich, so you can observe it from both points, and then figure out how far away Venus is. I think. Kind of what they were going for.
Trigonometry.
Yeah, with the radius of the
Earth,
the diameter of the Earth as your base.
My God,
that's the biggest line you can draw in the 18th century.
The insanity of that statement. The diameter. Like, what is your point in this calculation? The diameter of the planet. I'm sorry, what?
Because that's how you did science in the 18th century. You didn't have these fancy computers.
Men with big brains and massive fuck-off whiteboards.
But they're not whiteboards, they're chalk. Because it's the 18th century.
Fair enough.
So that was a tangent.
Hey, we're allowed tangents. It's what we do. Look, we do not have that many questions, so tangents are appreciated. On this ramblings, if nothing else. I have checked. I have not missed any questions. That is it. We have all of them. I've looked. Yeah, we absolutely cooked on Monday. We plowed. We properly plowed on Monday. Like, we just nommed our way through questions. Chandlerlord asks, whether or not we do more questions will depend entirely on how I feel. I have to be in a certain mood to do additional questions after I've finished a catch-up ramblings.
Haven't we just finished?
No, we're doing. This is the catch-up ramblings. We are in the catch-up ramblings. We are currently partaking within the catch-up ramblings.
But didn't you do the one question? I'm confused now.
No, there are there are more, but
okay,
there are not that many more.
I'm not listening. That's fine.
It's fine.
Look, someone who probably knows what's going on.
Jolly
brilliant.
Good. Excellent. Chandlerlord asks, Pelion, after retreating from the Battle of Endor, wants to take what was left of Death Squadron against the rebel forces at Endor to cut the flower at the stem. How effective would that have been? Well, good job, Dragons here. What was left of Death Squadron after Endor Dragon? I know that they'd lost Executor, but in terms of actual ISD 1s and 2s and fighters they'd lost, I don't think they got that bloodied.
They did.
That's why I'm asking, though, because my memory might be spotty.
If we're going off Legends timeline, Executor's gone, Pride of Talanya's gone.
Pride of Talanya being, for those of us not aware of what she was.
Communications battlecruiser.
Right.
A unique ship that we've never really seen or heard of again.
Yeah, but
Very good ship, though. She's described as a battlecruiser, but she's also described as a communication ship, and she's larger than other ones. There is a excellent design that's been going around in Fanon, which
I've
makes
seen
a
it.
really good one.
It used to come up in our massive Galactic
Yes, you
Conquest
used to
around-
hate them.
Yes, it's the only thing that could actually match the mediator printer. But anyway, carry on.
After the Battle of Endor, it's believed, I think, at least 20 of the Star Destroyers survived.
That is not enough.
Well, there was 33 Star Destroyers initially.
Okay, that's...
One Executor, 2 Battlecruisers, 3 Tectors, 33 Imperial 1 and 2s.
I'm still sat there going...
Depends when. What was the exact wording?
It literally, apparently, it's... from what I say, it says, Pelion, after retreating from the Battle of Endor, wanted to take what was left of Death Squadron against the rebel forces at Endor to cut the flower at the stem. How effective would that have been? So basically catch them while they're celebrating.
Pretty sure Pelion didn't want to do that, if I remember correctly.
But assuming...
Because Pelion was the one who actually managed to get what was left of Death Squadron to actually retreat. He managed to save a surprising number of Imperial assets.
Good old Pelion. Absolute... The only real goat of the post-Endor Empire. Basically the one man with a sane head on his shoulders. Well, apart from Thrawn. But even then. I would take it if they went back in, it wouldn't go well.
Actually, it might.
I suppose the whole catching your enemy with the pants down bit does kind of help.
Well, no, it's more a case of the Battle of... The rebel forces present at Endor are not actually that great.
Because I know the Alliance committed, but they also didn't do what the Empire thought they'd do. They didn't full commit to Endor.
Oh, no, they did. They got almost every asset they could to strike Endor.
How many Mon Calas did they show up with? I know there's the quasi-battle cruiser Home 1, which is the big... really
multiple
big...
Home 1 type, and at least 3 Liberty type, and a number of MC-80As.
So basically, that's why they're able to go toe-to-toe with Death Squadron. That's actually a force that you could realistically expect to stand and fight against Death Squadron.
I believe it's stated that there's roughly 40 Rebel capital ships, potentially.
Yeah, so...
But I don't think we've got a hard number anyway. Potentially, actually, it goes very well. It all depends on what happens at the time.
Yeah. Probably best to not speculate, but...
Well, overall, the Imperial forces are far stronger than that of the Rebellion.
True.
Yeah, so we believe the current one, we've got at least 5 MC-80 Liberties, 80 MC-80A Home 1s, minimum 10 other Mon Calamari Heavy Star Cruisers, 10 Nebulon Bs, 40 DP-20s, 8 CR-90s, 16 GR-75s, and a bunch of other smaller assets.
Ah, yes, the GR-75. We're here because...
Why did you bring this?
I think it was repair. I think the reason is repairs and stores and shenanigans. Something like that. I don't know. Fleet tender, maybe. Point defense ship. I don't know.
They said all assets.
Or maybe just cannon fodder.
It is the kitchen sink.
It depends on what happens. If there is the 40-odd Mon Cala ships, then yeah, no, the Imperial forces will get crushed. Because you're almost fighting 2-to-1 odds. And yeah, no. Like 1.2 to 1.3, I could believe the Imperials could fight that. Not 2-to-1.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh dear.
I made that statement going off info acquired. Yeah, just because Gilad Pelion was the one who actually led the retreat, and then felt bad that he didn't know whether that was the right decision to make. But the other admiral, Grand Admiral Oswald Tesk, led a rearguard action that got every ship there destroyed.
One save.
I guess as the Pelion urged return to Endor, hoping to smash the battle damaged fleet before news could arrive, but Blitzer Hask informed him the battle was over, so he then ditched that immediately. But yeah, no. It's inadvisable to launch that attack.
It may not go well for you.
It also depends on how many of the rebel forces, though, leave as well.
True. Anything else anybody want to add, Moe, Chair, before we move?
This is levels of Star Wars I've never delved into.
Yeah, Dragon is the
Indeed.
goat. Dragon is the goat for stuff like this. Channel Lord asks, all UNSC forces in Reach are replaced by the entirety of the Eggman Empire's fleet across its history, commanded by Dr. Ivo Eggman Robotnik. How does the battle go? I have very little knowledge of Sonic, but from what I have seen, Eggman gets his shit rocked incredibly quickly.
Huh?
Yeah, no.
Huh?
The Egg Fleet barely cracks triple digits. Barely.
Yes.
And it's built around 21st century-ish technology.
No.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm.
The Egg Fleet, especially depending on which one we go off, is a horrifying
Oh, but
set
apparently...
of weapons of mass destruction.
Oh, it's all of them. It's all the Egg Fleets combined.
That includes Metal Sonic, the Covenant Doomed.
That can't be right, surely. The Covenant are bringing...
He can absorb every asset and grow stronger himself. He eats the starships.
Oh.
Do not underestimate Dr. Eggman's tech. He has literally created black holes
But
for fun.
But funny circle, dude.
Includes Sage. Oh god, the Covenant are doomed. Also, the UNSC all of a sudden have some potentially very interesting AI constructs.
But he's the funny circle man. He's
Do not genuinely like Dr. Eggman is nuts in his capability.
Oh,
Like,
he pissed on them.
Also, keep in mind that it is canonical that Dr. Eggman himself can run faster than the speed of sound.
What? How?
Welcome to
Because
Sonic.
he's trained his legs.
But that's not.
He works out.
But what? But
Welcome to Sonic.
How do you think he keeps up with Sonic?
But that's not. You can't fucking train your legs to run that fast.
You can if you're the egg.
I hate that makes even a fucking modicum of sense, Chair. Fuck you.
Like, genuinely, the egg fleet, if it is all of it,
From
is
every
completely nuts, because this means he has got at least 3 planet-destroying weapons.
every version of the egg carrier ever built.
Like I said, do not underestimate the egg fleet. It's also got high-grade particle cannons. The sort of ones that the UNSC wish they could have.
Oh. So literally the Foreigners are back
Oh,
in the form of a
Sage
funny
could just
circle
hack
man.
Sage could hack into all of the Covenant ships.
So basically, it turns out the actual mantle of responsibility doesn't belong to humanity. It belongs to the funny circle man with his.
It
funny
belongs to the
robot.
Eggman Empire.
Yes, it belongs to the funny man. Jesus.
Ironically, no, he doesn't invoke Toon Force either. This is through sheer will, determination, and I'm sick of that hedgehog. Yes, I'm not sure if anyone else has any other comments.
No.
Ah, egg.
Basically.
Oh, of course. Sorry. 1 second. I only have one. Did you like that, Obama? I'm pissing on the moon. That has to be said.
Unfortunately, I need
Funny.
to get disappearing. I've been summoned to do some stuff, but good luck with that Lexington question.
Hey. Why you leave?
Why? Because I need to go shopping and help parents.
Okay, I understand.
I would stay if I could, but so bye for now. Good luck.
Uh... Uh... Okay. Right. Bone Wheel Boy, the panel is forced to choose one destroyer or larger museum ship that is the sole representative of its class, e.g. Victory, Constitution, or Belfast, to destroy. Which one do you pick to scrap? Let me just check something real quick. Scrapped, sunk, sunk. Scrapped. Bugger!
Well,
Okay, can't have that. Yeah, so, I'm just looking through certain museum ships. Jesus Christ! Excuse me 1 second, folks.
bam, ba-da-dum, bam, bam, ba-da-dum, bam, ba-da-dum, bam. Etc. I can't be bothered to keep up with it. Hang on, I can't interact with chat at the moment. I haven't got the thing up. I'm so sorry,
Right.
everyone.
Okay.
Oh no, he's back.
I'm
That's a
back.
shame.
Yeah, sorry. I had to just very quickly just deal with something. Right. So, honestly, looking through this question, yeah, there's only one ship I am willing to sacrifice. Because it did very little in its life. It's only really of value to one nation. And honestly, I don't care about it. I'm gonna get rid of the last Sverdlov.
Oh yeah. I completely forgot about that. That is kind of just
Yeah, like,
chilling there, isn't it, in Rostov?
yeah, like, like while the loss of one of the most advanced gun cruisers in the world, and the place it represents in naval history will be felt, compared to the other things that would be on the chopping block, yeah, that is one thing that we can probably do without. Unless anyone else has a disagreement with that.
I mean, now you mentioned it, it does kind of. I was just thinking, put poor Aurora out of her misery.
Yeah, but Aurora is actually important.
Yeah,
She served 3 different Russian governments: the Tsarists, the Republicans, and the Communists. And of course, she did fire the starting gun for the whole
yes.
funny revolution MacGuffin McMuffin. Fought at
And she got
Tsushima.
shot at by her own fleet at Dogger Bank.
Fought at Tsushima, and actually, I think she managed
Yes.
to sink something. Yeah, we're not getting rid of her.
But I feel like she's had to put up with so much bullshit in her life.
Yeah.
That,
Chandler says this is the most sacrificable unit in existence. Like, look, don't get me wrong. I do have a soft spot for the Sverdlovs, alright? I do actually quite like the Sverdlovs. But out of all the one-offs I can get rid of, this is the one that is going to
yeah,
cause
that's
the
the problem.
least... Yeah.
Like, I thought there's like. The shame is there's 3 tangos, like the Soviet subs and things like.
I had hoped to avoid her and actually nail the one cash-in that's a museum ship. But unfortunately, the Indians are still running around with 4 of the buggers in service.
Hmm. What about the Pueblo just to fuck off the North Koreans?
Oh, we could. We could. No, we can't. It had to be destroyer and above.
Oh yeah, bollocks.
Yeah. Nearly. Though it would
Nearly.
probably fuck off the like, and of course there'd be a propaganda like "Wan song ai he yon sing yong shong su with away," which basically would translate to "and the great leader Kim Jong Un, with the power of his mind, obliterated the Pueblo because we no longer need it to prove how superior we are, and that's why it's gone." Ah, dear.
But yeah, no, I think I got to agree with Sverdlov. There's only one of them. Yeah, it just, yeah,
It just works.
it just is.
Moe, anything you want to add to that?
It's probably going to be something Chinese. I don't know. I need to check all the Chinese fucking museum ship, because they preserve a whole bunch of like 70s destroyers and frigates, and like I don't know which one's the ones that's like so in class. I was half thinking Kiev, but then I forgot Minsk also exists.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I know, Brandon, I know. Right, next question. From Ruinon. You were in charge of the procurement of the Inoblistan Navy after the country's founding in 1950. Please tell me someone knows what this is.
Just keep going.
Just, yeah.
After the country's founding in 1950. Through the shenanigans of politics and intrigue, you are both untouchable and have been given a blank check to build an Italy-tier navy. What are the most questionable at the time ships and systems that you could buy, but while having the greatest payoff in the future? Right. Italy-tier navy.
In 1950s.
Right. Okay. So... Well, the first thing I'm going to buy is I'm going to buy a... Well, we're going to start a program to build a nuclear reactor to go to sea. At a time well before that is going to be seen as, you know, a set thing. Like, we are well ahead of things like Nautilus. So that's already going to be questionable. Like, just in terms of that alone. So that's one thing. Secondly, Problem is...
You will have to procure a battleship.
Not in the 50s.
No, Andrea Doria still exists, so you have no choice.
No, I don't. I do have a choice, actually. I don't... I'm building an Italy tier navy. That doesn't mean I have to have some of the chronically obsolescent assets the Italian navy was running around with.
No, it just means you have to have a battleship. I never said you have to have an old battleship.
No, I don't have to have a battleship at all. I don't need a battleship to counter a battleship. Not in this period.
No, have a battleship.
No, I don't want to. No, I'm not going to build something like a Baltimore class. If I'm building anything with guns, it's going to be something with either... Because the thing is, I don't want to build something with a view to guided missile conversions. I want to build guided missile cruisers without the bloody missiles. Or, if I can get missiles, with the bloody missiles. I want to build an overly heavily built missile cruiser. So I'm thinking, Okay. The problem comes, really, with that one line. Questionable at the time, having the greatest payoff in the future. The problem I've got is that even by the 50s, the paradigm was becoming pretty fucking clear. Pretty much everyone could see which way the wind was blowing. That's the problem. The only things questionable I can do are things that won't have payoff. If that makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like nothing in 1950.
Like build a large...
Nothing that's bad in 1950 is going to become good later.
No, build a large set of gun cruisers with fitted for, but not with spacers for deck-mounted heavy anti-ship missiles. That's not questionable at the time. They'll be useful gun assets, and then they can be converted to useful missile assets. Build a large straight deck carrier that can be converted to an angled flight deck carrier. It's not questionable at the time, and it's not.
I was thinking like buy a Essex or something, but like
I am
that's
really
not
struggling.
Carriers.
Yeah, I am really struggling.
It will become better.
Yeah, I'm really trying to struggle to think of something that's questionable at the time, but will not be questionable that will have a big payoff in the future. The problem is we're in the 50s. It's the die has been cast. The Great Reset is underway, and everyone can see it. Again, Sea Dodders, it still comes under the same thing. Buying a Centaur class-like carrier, that's medium power fucking 101. Every medium naval power and their mother is buying a bloody Centaur.
Not the Italians.
True, but you know what I mean. It's the only... Jesus. That is the real problem. Again, Sea Dodders. These are not... These
bad choices.
Yeah, these are not questionable choices. Like, at all. This is the problem. I am trying my hardest to think of something questionable, that will pay off later. But the only questionable things I can think of are things with no bloody payoff. I'm trying. I am desperately, desperately trying. Also, hello, Leslie, and hello, Stephen. On YouTube, nice to have you. Uh... Oh, the only thing I could do would be fund the construction of a series of 4 to 8 large Walther-engined boats. Now, I know what you're thinking. While this is questionable, the research that the British gained through the construction and operation of Explorer, she had the nickname Exploder for a reason, did help them make the O-boats and their follow-on diesel boats very, very quiet through the things they learned about how the Walthers worked, how you could raft engines, etc. So you probably want an experimental class. It also provides research into air-independent propulsion, which will be useful for our diesel boats later down the line. Yeah, that's the main thing here. That is the main thing. Yeah, fund the construction of a pair of large experimental Walther turbine-driven submarines. And yes, that does mean hydrogen peroxide. Bowmill Boy, what current museum ships today would the panel not want to exchange for Warspite? Anything currently in the West. So that's anything west of Turkey and Russia and east of China. Anything else is fair game. Anything...
Well, I'd say no, Mikasa.
No, you can't. You can't trade Mikasa for Warspite.
Oh no, sorry. That is Mikasa is East China. Ignore me. That was what I was meaning. Mikasa shouldn't be.
Yeah, I said east of China, not east of Japan.
Yeah. Oh,
if anyone else wants to make any adjustments...
Don't the Australians have like a battle or something?
That's one of the ones where I'd go... I suppose that is one of few Western ships I could say, yeah, alright mate, throw it on the Barbie. And I've just realised I'm probably having...
Because it is for Warspite.
Yeah, but that's probably one of very few I would actually...
I have no quarrel
I mean... Not to be rude to the poor thing, but what about M39?
Oh yeah, we can throw M39 on the bonfire. Yeah. Literally, like all I can see is Drac literally coming in, grabbing M39, and just going yeet, and just throwing.
And aren't there a shit ton of American Fletchers and shit that are just?
I have no quarrel throwing an Iowa into the fray.
Oh look, I know that. While the various other Britbongs would be very happy, I wouldn't be. The Iowas are beautiful ships with long and storied histories. They are.
Yeah.
And they deserve the status that they have accrued.
There's 4 of them. I don't mind throwing one of them out.
How many?
For Warspite?
It is the only time in battleship history an entire class has been preserved. Let's not break that streak. Right. Oh boy. Fun times. Here we go, boys. We can have some fun with this, because we can stretch this question out a little bit to go beyond the Battle of Britain, I think. Brandon Larson asks, what if 1,000 F-15Cs with AWACS, tankers, and support crews and full stocks of ordnance... Which, note, it doesn't say just air-to-air, it just says ordnance, so that must include also the funny air-to-ground stuff, goes back in time to defend the British Isles right at the beginning of the Battle of Britain. Well, first of all...
Funny!
Well, first of all...
Intercept V2s without... Satellite missiles.
Well, first of all, I think. Well,
Sorry.
you know what? I feel like I wanted a bit of a. We've got the time. I wanted a bit of a deep dive. So the first things we've got to bear in mind is basing. You can't use. This is one of the things we need to bear in mind. We need to basically find the very few concrete strips in Britain. There are some that exist in this period, but they basically now have to be monopolized by these F-15s, their AWACSs, and their tankers.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. What was
And-
Manson built?
And we also need to crash build more. Ideally, you'll want to build these further away, north of England, and Northern Ireland would probably be a good place to put them, because you could sortie your AWACS and your tankers from Northern Ireland, whether they're just safe. Sea Dodders, not a pound for air to ground. Oh no, there will be a pound for air to ground, believe me, I have a plan.
Your plan is going to be stupid.
Nope, it's not going to be stupid. Well, yeah, so so there'll probably be enough bases for them, and then obviously expansions can be made. But Ruin Note does put this well. It does become the Great British Turkey Shoot, and the Luftwaffe will be gone in a week. Anything that isn't obliterated in the air will then be found on the ground and annihilated. Even just dumb bombing, because, F-15s have the heads-up display that gives basic targeting predictions for dumb bombs.
No, it does not. Not the sea.
Which is the one that has it? Striking.
That has 0 ground strike capability. It's the air superiority variant.
Oh. But I thought all F-15s were basic multi-role.
No. F-15 was never designed to be multi-role. It was an air superiority fighter. It's only when you start getting into the D and E models when they become multi-role.
Oh. No. Sea Dodders was right. Not a pound for air to ground. Sag.
That's the entire point of 15.
No, Brandon. No. You don't get to change the question after it's been asked. No, that's not how we do things. Typical gunnery officer. Typhoon is hands down better than F-15, right? No, that's not how 4th and 4.5 generation aircraft work. That's not how that works. Well, basically, the skies over Europe just become safe. Can F-15C carry targeting pods? And can those targeting pods take pictures?
No.
Fuck. Okay, so can't do recon. Unless you have a guy in the back of the F-15 with a camera and do it the old-fashioned way. I mean, I suppose that's technically possible.
I can't see how the RAF can't MacGyver camera pods onto them.
And also, politely, I've just realised, they literally have bloody AWACS. If you want to do bloody reconnaissance, just send an AWACS up with a massive stonking escort of F-15s and just sweep the fucking area in front of you. Like, you might not get some detail, but you'll definitely get the basic picture of the fuck's going on with stuff like shipping and big buildings. I think.
Yeah.
Oh, no. US pilots would fumble the battle away. How? How?
You see little blip on radar, go, oh, press button, BF-109 just turns to dust.
Like, they are literally being vectored in by AWACS aircraft that are going to very easily pick out the incoming German raids. Then the
F-15 flying through Heinkel's going.
Like, yeah,
it's going to be lit the fuck up because they're flying in fairly tight formation.
Like, literally, it may actually come down to infrareds rather than Sparrows, simply down to the fact of how tight the German formations actually are.
No, I'll totally use sparrows.
Locking them up's gonna be a bit iffy.
Not really. Why would it?
I mean, the thickness of the formations. Yeah, then
That doesn't mean anything.
fair enough. As well, just yeet Sparrows into them till they all die. They get AMRAMs. Isn't AMRAM a little bit late for F-15C?
We're still flying F-15Cs.
I suppose if they have modern kit, then, well, that case, now they already are fucked. So the F-15 will be flown by British part. No, it said US F-15s. Gunnery officer. Nowhere does it say... Why are you pulling this out of your... Where have you, like... It says F-15s with tankers, support crews, and ordnance go back to defend the British. I assume they're flown by US pilots, I would guess.
It did not specify, so technically he could be right.
But even if they are flown by US pilots, I mean, US pilots have been fucking kicking ass at F-15s since the platform's been a thing. 104 and 0. 104 kills, no losses. And Brandon
That's also including Israeli F-15, so.
True. And Brandon Larson, as specified, they are flown by US pilots. And it is his question, so he can specify. But yeah, at that point, the skies over Europe are basically just... Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fairly obvious and dull answer at the end of the day. It's just allies have a superiority for everything, and also long range.
I mean, at that point, the British could do daylight raids because the Luftwaffe just.
You still got the risk of anti-aircraft gun. An F-15C can't do much against a flag battery.
Thing.
You do, but you have fucking the 1,000 F-15s of the magical support force.
Well,
I suppose you might see more German crackpot surface to air
not
missiles.
going to be very happy about escorting Lancasters and Wellingtons.
God, just sat at near stall speed for
They are
hours.
they fly way too slow.
No, you probably wouldn't have active defense. You'd probably have them flying racetrack patterns along the route, and then you'd have the AWACS vectoring them into any scramble sorties they see. So
yes, but then now you get into the issue of the F-15 might not have the fuel to run that pattern all the way to Germany.
Well, no, one group of F-15s wouldn't, but you'd tank them. You'd tank them, and you'd tank.
They didn't say they brought in tankers.
They did.
Yes,
they did. 1,000 F-15Cs with
Never mind.
AWACS, tankers, and support crews.
Yeah, with tankers then, okay, sure.
Brandon Larson, you don't want to be taking them down low and strafing. That is a good way to get them shot. That is a good way to actually get them shot down. Like it is one thing for them to avoid ground fire high up, but I'm sorry, the sheer amount of 20 and 37 mil, quantity does have a quantity all its own at this point. It's just, I'm sorry, the sheer amount of DACA, it's not worth it. It is not.
It is not difficult to shoot at something that, no matter how fast it's flying, directly at you.
Yeah.
If you're just flying directly at you, it's pretty simple to just sort of point at it.
Yeah.
And the rounds will go that way.
Yeah. We know you're not saying they should. We're just saying that's a good way to get them killed. Also, the Dutchman!
Yes, hello.
Hello, the Dutchman. Yeah, but basically, that's the way you'd basically have to use them. Brandon Larson, what if all Starfleet capital ships are replaced with Terran Lexington-class dreadnought cruisers? Dragon 2000 from Dragon's Archive. The Terran Lexington-class starship is a modified version of the Odyssey-class starship measuring 1,061 meters long, 271 meters wide, and 147 meters tall, making it one of Starfleet's largest ships to date. It comes armed with at least 24 Mark 10 phaser arrays, 1 super heavy spinal phaser lance capable of going through the toughest shields in hour to date, approximately 16 torpedo launchers, and mounts an Aquarius class escort attached at the rear of the engineering section. These ships are by far the most powerful vessels to ever enter Terran and Starfleet forces. When are they replacing Starfleet's capital ships? Do you mean in terms of
I don't think it really. I
Brand-
don't think it really.
Dominion War. Dominion War. Okay. The Dominion gets its ass kicked in about 2 weeks. Like that is, yeah. The Dominion gets its ass handed to it. Like they're done. They're fucking done. There is no need for subterfuge. Just batty away to Deep Space Nine.
No, you're gonna run into the issue of there isn't enough numbers.
With these things, they win every fight they deal with in a one-on-one fight.
Do you know how big the Federation space is?
Look at the fleet that actually fights through the Deep Space Nine. Like replace all the galaxies with these, you've got the Force to punch through. Easily. Exceptionally easily. And the minefield just will not get cleared. Yee. But yeah, we're talking they're capable of slipstream
Yes, but no,
slipstream is a thing
okay.
from
No, the
Halo.
entire issue is we're talking about a number that is not large enough to influence the entirety of the war, simply out of the sheer fact that the war is on a very large front.
We're talking.
You could influence certain sector of the battle, of certain sectors of battles. Wherever they exist, the Dominion will not win. But they cannot exist everywhere.
I know.
That's the issue.
I know, they just have to exist on the front heading towards Deep Space Nine. And then the Dominion gets his ass kicked.
Which means the Dominion is most likely going to adopt a different tactic by just not fighting that force.
Then the Dominion basically accepts it's lost the Alpha Quadrant. Because if Starfleet gets to Deep Space Nine before the minefield's cleared, then the Dominion cannot reinforce from the Delta Quadrant.
Then you start having encirclement problems if you're just going to yeet straight for DS9.
Well, no, once you've done that, you can lock in the front and then, push a little here, a little there. But that's the key goal here. You've got to push to Deep Space Nine to make sure that minefield doesn't get breached. Also, slipstream travel, isn't that a Halo thing?
No.
It's a thing in Star Trek. Right. My brain
Well, in Star Trek Online lore, that's the method to break through the Warp 9 barrier. Well,
right. But yeah, this is none of us here are the Star Trek guys.
not to the level Dragon is. To be fair, I have an extreme bias against anything Odyssey related, so
yeah,
take everything I say with extreme grain of salt, but I think the big problem is we need to discuss what is a capital ship.
Like, if it's just the ambassadors and the galaxies, I agree with Moe. Completely agree with Moe. They're situational and front based. if you're including something like the love shot, the thing that the Mafia loves, aka the Excelsiors, that suddenly changes things.
It changes a lot of things. And technically, do we classify Defiant as a capital ship?
Yeah, this is the thing,
It,
isn't it?
that is honestly one of the bigger problems with Star Trek lore. Their capital ship categories are
There is
it
no
gets quite
consistency.
wacky and it gets wacky and blurry. Because do we categorize capital ship by its firepower, its defensive capability, or just sheer mass? Or are we talking about role? Because if we're talking about just role, then yeah, Fleet's right. We're only looking at galaxies and ambassadors, and there isn't much ambassadors or hell, even Miranda's around by that stage. So you're just replacing all the galaxies. And then obviously we also have to consider when in the Dominion War then, because when now it separates into pre-war galaxies or war-built galaxies. Because those came out at a different time. Because if we're starting to include the war-built galaxies, then that's yet again another different stories. There's going to be quite a bit of wartime galaxies around, and then obviously, I presume we're also going to be replacing whatever sovereigns is around. I think there's like 6 or 8 during the Dominion War, but those I believe sovereigns were also they were completed during the war. So it gets really wacky in terms of which one you're replacing. But yes, Dragon, we very much well know how not the Lexington actually is.
Jesus Christ.
No, if Excelsior gets replaced and the Starfleet becomes the most powerful force in the Alpha and Beta Quadrant, and possibly even Gamma Quadrant, if they just decide to go for a wormhole and be like, funny.
Yeah.
There is so much Excelsiors floating around. It's not even funny if you start replacing those with Lexingtons.
The Excelsior was Starfleet's answer to everything. Excelsior Mafia is real.
Yeah, even Dragons is like, nah, that's nuts. It's nuts. And like when you start going to Miranda and down, it's just like there isn't that many things underneath a Miranda.
There are literally
In terms of-
thousands of Excelsior. Because yeah, the Excelsior is just the go anywhere, do anything cruiser. That's just it's the thing that's getting the things done.
Yeah, Starfleet goes we.
Yeah, the war's
No,
over.
you know what that is?
The war's over.
That is no. This is a force that's actually capable of maybe going toe to toe with the Borg.
Fucking A. We are the Borg. Lower your shields and... Holy shit, what the fuck is that? It's our new toy. Where'd you get it? I don't know. How many do you have? Jesus Christ.
It's not something you want. Like this
Brandon,
is
the Iconians are dead. They've been dead for ages.
well, not in Star Trek Online lore, but we
Yeah.
don't know. We don't actually fully know where the Iconians are
I have never played Star Trek Online. I
in
don't.
Alpha. So that's the thing. In Alpha lore, we don't actually fully know whether the Iconians are alive or dead. It is theorized that they're gone, but there are also theories that they're not. We don't know. Beta canon, then obviously based off Star Trek Online, they are alive, and I don't know. I haven't played the game enough where I was not around when the Iconians chapter came around.
Everything changed when the Iconians attacked. Oh dear. Right. Okay, next question. For Dragon, but Dragon is not here. So I guess I'm gonna file that one and ask it on Sunday.
Skip.
Yeah, ask that on Sunday on Brew Ships to Dragon. That's what I would do for Chandelord. Chandelord, your question, question 8 that you asked about Dragon about the new class modernization program. Ask that to him on Sunday.
Or Monday. He's probably going to be around on Monday as well.
Yeah, but yeah, Sunday's the better chance to get him because Brew Ships is very much his, Foxo, and Clark's triplet show. They really are coming into their own on there. And I'm not there, so I don't get in the way. Yay. Brandon Larson asks, what is the panel's thoughts on the BF-109K in War Thunder compared to later Mustangs and other equivalent Briar planes in other nations in the game? It compares very poorly against a lot of the other nations' fighters for one simple and valid reason. It's not a fighter. It's Willie Messerschmitt strapping two BF-109s together, putting a bomb under them, and submitting it as a fast bomber, hoping that nobody will notice that it's two fucking BF-109s strapped together with a bomb
What
underneath
the
it.
hell are you talking about?
Like, are you thinking of something that isn't the K?
He is clearly thinking not the K.
Yeah.
I'm
The
thinking
109K4.
I'm thinking of the Z, aren't I?
Yes.
Yeah.
Whoops. The K4. It's a BF-109, I guess. It's got guns, I guess. It's it goes zoom through the skies.
Is that one with a cannon and a spinner?
Yeah,
If
it's
it
one
is,
of
I hate it.
It is, honestly, it is impressive the Germans somehow made that thing work on the 109 airframe. It is such an old airframe, but yet somehow it's capable of outrunning a Mustang at high altitude. It is a feat and a half for
by this
what
point.
it is.
By this point, the BF-109 has historically had settled into its role as the cheaper, more mass producible, easier to build interceptor.
No, it is not. The only reason why the 109K4 exists because the 109 production line never ended, and the only way to make sure the 109 was still relevant, you have to upgrade its performance.
No, I'm aware of that, but you can't expect a K to fight anything that isn't Russian.
Yes, I can. You don't understand how cracked out the 109K4 actually is. Like I said, it can outrun Mustangs in high altitude. Do you understand that statement?
Probably not. I haven't played War Thunder in months.
No, historically it can, and in game they could also do that because the numbers are there. But my entire point is the 109K4 is cracked out. The only reason why it suffers in War Thunder is because a lot of the planes it has to fight are shit that is complete, absolute, utter bullshit in terms of whether it actually performed the way it or the way the game suggests it could, or everything else is so undertiered it's it's actually we just don't know because we don't know whether the Yak 3's performance in game is really correct. We don't much want to say it does not, or it isn't. But Yak 3 is like the biggest example of Russian bias, in my opinion, in War Thunder.
Violate the myth of the Russo-Japanese of the Great Patriotic War. Where do we know, the Russian aircraft were that good? It's just, don't you know the Russian Air Force destroyed the Luftwaffe?
And then obviously there's also the I-12 or 225s that never flew. Nobody knows what its actual performance actually is.
Yeah,
Also,
in case anyone is confused, that last statement of mine was clear and obvious sarcasm.
All the Mustangs are under-tiered as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
The 51H is questionable in performance because it's going off of North America's the North American specs in terms of how much the water injected Merlin could actually produce.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if that's actually accurate. The numbers that they give is somewhere around 3,000 horsepower, but it's really questionable whether they could achieve that or not. Up against it really struggles against Griffin Spits, but that's just mostly down to the fact that the Griffin engine is just cracked and whack in terms of how much power it delivers on a relatively much more flexible airframe than a 109.
Indeed.
Sadly to say. So that is genuinely something you don't really want to run across into in the K4, but there are still advantages the K4s have. Because it is a 109. Just
They don't turn.
Nothing beats it in a loop. Simple as that. A 109 will loop with pretty much anything all day as long as you have the energy to maintain the loop. Which, yeah, most of the time you can, because that is a cracked out engine. DB605 100 octane with NW50 and GM1. It is basically a poor man's 152 in terms of high altitude performance.
In terms of War Thunder, Yuki, we're talking about War Thunder, not real life combat. The BF-109 is not a turn fighter in War Thunder. Yes, but I was talking about the BF-109 in War Thunder. But yeah, anyone else got anything they want to add about BF-109s in War Thunder before we move on?
Well, I don't play War Thunder, so no.
Good. Well done.
I mean, sure, whatever. Yeah, okay. We get it, Yuki. Got it. You're not the only one with 11,000 hours in War Thunder.
Brandon, so, Timu, panel's favourite tank in Wargaming's game, World of Tonks, Tog 2. Like, I'm sorry, I haven't played in 10 years, and no, I'm not fucking joking, I haven't played in 10 years, and I still love Tog 2. It just Tog 2. I saw Jingles play it, and I bought it, and I just... So much fun, that tank.
I
The only reason
the
that
tank
I have...
the tank that I really like, at least up to what I owned, was the Centurions. I really love playing the Centurions.
Gotta love
But
Centurion.
for a tank that I do not own, I very much enjoy watching Waffenträger E100s deleting half the team in like 20 seconds.
That was good when they were in the game, yeah. Although I
Auto loading my 50s, funny.
I did have a soft spot as well for Bert the Avenger, the British tier 6 artillery that you didn't play like an artillery, you played it like a fucking assault gun.
It is an assault gun.
Bert the Avenger. Chair, Guy, any particular favourites if you played?
Of what?
I
Sorry.
don't play World of Tanks, so no.
Oh, World of Tanks.
Yeah, favourite tank.
Oh, I had one thing that I enjoyed playing. I can't remember its name now. I haven't played it in so
Describe
many
it.
years.
Describe it. Maybe we can. What nation was it?
British, obviously.
Was it a long distance shooty thing? A short distance shooty thing? Was it speedy? Was it slow?
I swear I just sort of went around and smacked things in the face, but
Light,
that might
medium,
be
tank destroyer.
misremembering. I might be
Low
just
tier,
thinking of
high
something
tier.
else.
Was it small?
I don't know.
Was it small?
It wasn't Bert the Avenger.
Aww.
It's probably something with the 94mm howitzer. mounted on it.
Yes!
Which is quite a few.
Electo,
Which is quite a few things.
Was it Electo?
Was it Electo?
Was it like a small thing, really, really low down?
Might have been Electo.
Yeah, it probably is Electo. Yeah, Gremlin mode. Yeah. Right, so, that was actually the last question. And Dragon's answer was the VK168.01p Mauerbrecher. Now, we are going to have a bit of a fleets discussion for a little bit, seeing as I do want to take this into a nice clean hour and a half.
Sure.
And I would like to invite all of the panel to join me for some Hoi 4 in my server, because I haven't played with all of you in ages, and it's going to be a nice chill match, and I don't get to play with the Dutchman and Chair very often, and I want to. Please, pretty please.
You know, thinking about it, you haven't come up with a new historical discussion topic this week, have you?
No, I haven't actually. Funnily enough, I've been ill. I will come up with one.
That's
tomorrow.
all right. You can start it off here.
But no, actually, I want to discuss something that's happened relatively recently, aka night before last.
Oh boy.
Sure, if you want to talk about that, sure.
I mean, it's fairly obvious what's happened. It was a test of NATO's resolve and our air defense capabilities, and we kicked their asses. Every single contact shot down. Response time in minutes. Get ratioed, bozo.
Yeah, pretty much. I see nothing wrong with it. Just, you violate airspace, shoot down, move on.
Literally, and of course the Dutch shot with their F-35's like, finally we get to shoot something.
15 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
I was more afraid you were trying to talk about the other thing, but
No, we're not. I'm not touching that with 10-foot pole. I ain't touching that with a 10-foot pole.
that's why I was like,
apart from to say the obvious thing, political violence is bad. Doesn't matter who it happens to. That is all.
Anyway.
But yeah.
Do lovely trolling the entire audience.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm gonna talk about this thing.
But yeah, so basically the Russians fired, what was it? It was current count is 23, 24, wasn't it? I think drones into Poland. Like they weren't combat drones, they were recon. But they were deliberately there to test how NATO would respond. And I think it was the Dutch sent an F-35. I think it was either one or two F-35s the Dutch sent. Then there was... But yeah, basically they got their shit rocked. Wait. Actually, Guy, is that the first time that the Dutch have fired air-to-air weapons in anger in a very, very long time? When was the last time you guys fired any air-to-air weapons in anger? Even just guns? Would that have been against the Indonesians? Now there's a topic for discussion.
Frankly, I do not know the exact last time. But I can imagine that it was a very long time.
Definitely been a spell then, eh?
Well, better late than never.
Hey, at least we know they work. Yeah, well, I mean those pilots are gonna have everyone else jealous. Like they have kill marks on their planes because it technically counts as a kill. It doesn't matter if it's not a fast jet. It's still a kill, making everyone else jelly with the kills. Hey, you're racking up the scoreboard early.
Time for the clanker counter.
The clank.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So you have now. So we'll now have kill markers on aircraft, but only for human targets, and anything that isn't human gets added to the squadron's clank account. That should not have made me laugh as much as it did. The clanker counter. I can't. Oh, that's fucking funny. Oh, okay. Alright. But yeah, so, very quickly, I will just, so if people, so I've done some historical discussions recently, and I think the one I'd like to really start on is something that, Steve Clark mentioned a while ago. Basically, it was about, this German pursuit of perfection over, yeah, basically, for a lot of what he said in his post was right, but I did take exception to the perfection regardless of cost. Because it seems to me to be one of the few misconceptions about the German war effort that just will not die. The Germans during the Second World War could and did do things incredibly efficiently and do some very, very silly botch jobs to get things working. Like the examples I gave about the soft-skinned half-tracks and the fully tracked logistics vehicles they came up with for the Eastern Front. Like the RSO. That's literally just, okay, find me a pair of tracks, find me a soft-skinned body, job done. Or the expedited conversions of stuff like the Marders. They were not perfect, by any metric. And I mean, of course,
I think mostly it just comes down to German procurement issues.
Yeah, I mean, the way I'd see it, I think I have decided what the historical discussion will be. Basically, what do you guys think the biggest problem for the Nazi state was? Was it their procurement? Was it the constant infighting? Was it a combination of all three? Was it their unwillingness to be was it the somehow paradoxical opinions to be pragmatic one second and then totally ideologically consistent another, with seemingly no whiplash between those two states, and somehow being able to hold both at the same time?
Thinking they could take on the entire world
The
at
bare
the same
bone
time.
The bare bone of it is the biggest problem is the National Socialist Party. There's no question about it. Everything stems from the National Socialist Party and their ways of doing things.
Yeah, it's
Because if you think about it, a lot of problems that a lot of issues that future historians and even people on the internet describe in terms of how they can fix this, the issue always stems from if they weren't Nazis.
It does solve a lot of the issues.
Yeah, it is. There are a lot of things that's probably much more achievable for the German state if they weren't Nazis. It's just the National Socialist Party interferes and mingles with so many of the process of the German economy and procurement. There are so many things in there that really hinders the German capability for actual efficiency.
Yeah. So the issue is that it's a single party state that demands absolute loyalty. I suppose the Gestapo, which is an inherently necessary thing for the Nazi state to exist, also means that everyone is scared shitless all the time, and will dob in anyone, and anyone who is seen as in any way breaking the party line, carted away to some terrible place.
But even then, that also doesn't hold true, because we see numerous cases where higher ups stick their neck out for their underlings and pull rank on the Gestapo to keep them where they are. And that gets confirmed later down the line, which undermines the authority of the Gestapo. Which just...
Which, I mean... But the thing is, they're still having to go through these fights, and there are still, people are not doing their jobs because they have been pulled in by the Gestapo. Yes, they may be released later, but they're not being productive at that. It's just the culture of fear that is generated from fascism.
Leslie hits on something quite well here, which is, the battle plans were blitz-based, but the industrial economy was too. And he's right there. The German economy didn't mobilize. Not until... They didn't even start to properly mobilize until 42, 43. And even then, that was token efforts at best. The nation actually demobilized to an extent after the fall of France. Not remobilizing even to a basic level until just prior to Barbarossa.
But you can't do that.
Well, yeah, that's mostly just down to the fact that the Nazi high command is very, very, how should I say this? In this, they really just sort of, we're going to do this now.
So what I meant is you can't demobilize as Nazis. Because look at us, we're big and strong, look at this big army we've built. You can't then just go, but we're going to send them all home.
Well, no, you could in 1940. Because at that point, as far as everyone in the here was concerned, the war was on the land was over. It was going to be down to the Navy and the Air Force. And at that point,
but then they sort of run into this brick wall. What the hell are we going to do with all these soldiers that aren't soldiers anymore?
Oh, they actually needed them. They needed them back in the factories to build up the war material stocks for Barbarossa. That was a deliberate choice. Yes, and they also needed them for the harvest.
Because what you do get is a lot of, because especially pre-war, is a lot of it is these basically mandatory work programs, which gets the autobahns built, because there's so much unemployment that they're just like, fuck it, we'll just force people to work.
And then they get rid of the unemployment by opening up lots of new jobs, by removing the people who used to hold those jobs.
I suppose it's just the inherent problems with fascism.
No, Yuki, the horrible thing is they did have logic. That's what made them able to do what they did. In their warped mind, what they were doing
makes sense.
Was logical.
That's the thing. If you have the mindset of a Nazi, it makes sense what they're doing. If you don't have the mindset of a Nazi, it's quite difficult to make sense of it, because their logic is founded on flawed principles.
Yeah.
Of, racial hierarchy, superiority hierarchy, things like this, it doesn't work to a normal person because we're not Nazis.
No, it doesn't.
Which is a good thing if what the Nazis did doesn't make sense to you, because that means that you can't empathise with the fascists, which is,
it's a good thing.
Hooray.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Well done for being a valid member of this race, of the human race.
Well done. Good save there, mate. Hey.
Yeah, I nearly fucked that one.
I mean, I think the only reason that the Nazi state rumbled on as long as it did is that
conquest.
Yes, but also Hitler didn't fuck with the lower apparatuses of state and the army too much. If he had actually done so, I don't think instead of forming parallel organizations like the Waffen-SS, etc., he had tried to actually subsume the army later in the war, things would have gotten interesting. But
I
because
mean, that's the whole thing with Night of the Long Night.
Yeah.
Is that Hitler that actually does have some semblance of a credible, sensible idea, and goes, "Crap, I can't keep the regular army and the SA. Guess we have to kill all the SA now."
So
and this is
my
go on.
my take on this is that the biggest thing is that the Nazi Party isn't as ingrained into the German government system as opposed to what we saw out of the Soviets.
Yes, that's one thing.
Because
the Germans,
it's just
don't come
the
to power
Nazis.
through revolution. They basically just take over the working government of the Weimar government.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
just
hang
the
on.
big thing is
I
that
wouldn't-
there isn't as much of a time for the Nazis to ingrain themselves into the government system.
So, like, a structure of a
Like, think about it,
functioning government exists. They are just putting Nazis into those jobs.
Because think about it.
Whereas the Soviets just kind of blow it all up, try and rebuild it, and oh god,
Well, basically-
rampant corruption.
well,
Well, not just that. If you think about it, the Soviets also has much longer to
And-
do
Oh yeah,
this.
and
They
also
they
didn't
started
really
in
have a
22,
choice.
and they basically have a generation of they basically grew their own generation of soldiers that is just completely under the Soviet rule. There's
There's no-
nothing else other than Soviet,
Yeah.
which honestly the Nazis were trying to do. That's what the Hitler
that's what
Youths
they were
were.
trying to do. And if they had
Yeah.
done that, it would have been terrible. But they didn't get the chance.
They did. Yeah, there wasn't enough time. Hitler already started the whole thing using whatever previous manpower there was, and there was no indication that everybody is a Nazi.
Yeah, this is the thing that I do say is different between Nazism and fascism, because fascism is a style of government that fits within existing apparatuses of state, like Mussolini's Italy, because yes, it's a fascist government, but it sits on and uses the existing apparatuses of state. It is basically another political party ruling the nation, but it's just a different style of rule compared to what came before. Nazism sought to completely disassemble the apparatuses of state and restructure them.
It is a hardline takeover, and that is indeed what Hitler did.
I suppose at the end of the day, fascism will run into the same problem with Nazism, just later.
I mean,
Because you're still going to be breeding, basically. Because the thing is, it's because you're not got any checks and balances for your leading parties, so that you can't, so the sort of corruption and just bad politicians can just breed. They just eventually, once you've indoctrinated everyone into your way of thinking, you can't fix. There's no one there to fix and point out what's going wrong.
Unless you're Mussolini, in which case you literally have members of parliament shouting up and insulting you every day of the week, and not getting black bagged. Italy was weird.
Yes,
Italy was weird.
It is strange, but I mean, that's Italy. Italy doesn't have. Again, it's a similar thing with the Nazis. Italy doesn't have the time because of the style of fascism it has. It doesn't have the time to generate because it's still got pre-fascist politicians about. It's still got that culture still exists. It's not been bred out of the state yet.
It's one of those things where Italy's the weird situation where, because of Mussolini's very weird way he came to power, and basically ping-ponging across various different ideologies until basically creating fascism as a concept. I think his opinion was, in terms of political opposition, better a controlled opposition and the enemy you know, rather than... And also, kind of, it did enable him to keep a barometer on things. You know, if I'm being screamed at for this, there must be something going wrong. I mean, make no mistake, fascist Italy did have secret police, and it did have a lot of the problems, but it was a very unique form. Well, I'd argue that it was fascist. I don't think we've ever seen a state that has been fascist before or since. There have been authoritarian states, there have been totalitarian states. But I don't think we've ever seen a fascist state before or since. I think Italy is the only one that term fits currently.
Yeah. And even then, most like sort of verging on that sort of system states have all collapsed before you basically, all the old generation is dead.
Yeah.
You know, Franco Spain, like pre-Civil War people, there were plenty of them about when Franco died. So pretty much not every totalitarian state, because the Soviets do manage it.
Yeah.
Because sort of the Soviet Union, you do not have pre-revolution people alive in '91, really.
Yeah,
Not that are going to have any effect on government.
It is very funny that when the one
Soviet
person...
system collapsing by itself.
No, it is very funny that when the one person who is actually you know what, Bone Mill Boy, that's actually a good point. I would say that the state modern Russia is in now, you could probably say it's closing in on Italian-style fascism. I could say that modern Russia is closing in on that. And it's the closest thing we've seen to it ever in world history so far.
But I suppose it hasn't as much inherited a functioning... Well, it sort of has inherited a functioning government system-ish. The problem is the Russians haven't... It's been a lot soft. I suppose it's unlike... At least with the Italians, they had built... Basically, the Italian government had been being built since, the 1830s.
Yeah.
Based off the Piedmont and 1820s even. They're figuring out a constitutional monarchy. It's kind of going all right, and it's at the end of the day, it's
World
trying to work. Whereas the Russian system is kind of knackered because it came out of post-Soviet disaster, and it sort of immediately went to oligarchy. So it's always. That's why you've still got a lot of the old corruption issues of the Soviet government and things, and just sort of hideous amount of bureaucracy and just people who don't know how to do their jobs. So that's why we're seeing, the modern Russian army failing quite miserably. The modern Russian state failing, not doing the best right now, when really they shouldn't be failing. They shouldn't be losing this hard.
No.
If they were, competently run.
Yeah.
Or even had a competent system to run it from.
Yeah. Come on, I was going to say something. Oh, yeah. What was it? Oh, come on, Fleet. Oh, come on. What was it? Italy, Russia. Do you know, I've completely forgotten it. It was something profound and I've bloody forgotten it. Jesus Christ. Can't believe it. What am I like?
It happens.
What am I like?
Oh.
We understand you're getting old, dementia's setting in.
Oh, very funny. Very funny. But, I mean... Oh yeah, I mean, for example, I mean, there are some differences. I mean, so for example, in Italy, the government Mussolini's government went to war with corruption, and, the traditional forms of corruption, and things like the mafia, whereas Russian fascism adopted them. In Russian fascism, the controlled opposition is the media, where they are allowed to print. Basically, they're the pressure release valve, and basically they let the Russian government know, if things are reaching a point where the papers are writing about them, in obviously not completely accusatory terms, but in this is a problem that is occurring in the regions. It's probably a lot worse than that. Whereas in Mussolini's Italy, the papers were usually quite pro-regime. It was the parliament that Mussolini kept getting slandered in on a regular basis. But yeah, I mean, authoritarianism and means of control like that can take many different states. And it's important to bear in mind what you're looking at before you do call these... Oh, we lost Chair. Sag.
Oof.
It happens.
Ah, food has been arrived. He may be sometime. Well, that's fine. He can join the he can join the Hoi game after I finish this wrapping up bit and got that all set up and running. So just to wrap up, my sort of part of the reason I wanted to do this, and it's kind of led to this anyway. So it's basically, do be careful about crying wolf with everything we're seeing around the world, especially in the West. Make sure you are specific when you call out what's happening in your country or other countries in terms of authoritarian slide. Because specificity matters. If you call it what it isn't, by the time you get round to calling it what it is, people will just say you are crying wolf for the 20th time. Just bear that in mind, folks. This is Fleet's this has been Fleet's TED Talk, I guess. Thank you so much everyone for watching. I know that some of you, Steak, Queso, Moe probably, and hopefully the Dutchman, because it would be nice to have a game with the Dutchman, will be joining me.
I can stay.
Yay! Will be joining me for Hoi 4. And anyone else who wants to join is also welcome as well. Thank you, YouTube audience. It's been a pleasure to have you as always. Obviously, tune in on Sunday for